Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwichuk, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how to prevent backsliding. Rational emotive behavior therapy argues that people have two competing tendencies: a tendency to think irrationally, anti-scientifically, rigidly, and to defeat their own ends, as well as a self-helping side, a flexible side, a scientific side, a side that allows us to problem solve and think in a way that's healthy and leads to healthy coping with adversity. Unfortunately, no matter how much we may strengthen our tendency to think in a healthy way, in a scientific way that allows us to have healthy negative emotions and solve our problems, the side of ourselves which leads to rigid thinking and self-defeating behavior and anti-scientific decisions never is annihilated. And so therapy, whether it be self-therapy or professional therapy, aims to strengthen our healthy side and weaken or deactivate our unhealthy side. But sadly, we can't annihilate it. And this is our explanation for backsliding. People will very often make therapeutic changes, achieve progress in overcoming their emotional problems, overcoming behavioral problems, substance abuse problems, but will stop doing what works. And it's probably because of their low discomfort tolerance and that self-defeating side winning out, telling us that it's no longer necessary to work at our mental health or emotional well-being, it's no longer necessary to continue to train ourselves in flexible thinking. It's no longer necessary to keep the REBT, healthy, flexible attitudes, fresh in our mind. And so we backslide. Now, the first thing you want to do to restore your treatment gains, whether you achieved them on your own or through professional therapy, is to acknowledge them. And what prevents people from acknowledging backsliding is very often self-devaluation, self-denigration, where they think that they are lesser or weak because they stopped doing what works and they've given up their therapeutic treatment gains. They've gone back to procrastination or gone back to avoidance behavior, copping out. And as long as you devalue yourself, and define yourself in terms of your therapeutic progress, you will actually lead yourself to stay in a pattern of self-defeating behavior. So the first step in restoring your therapeutic gains is to unconditionally accept yourself and see that as a fallible human, you will backslide. And the sooner you accept yourself with your backsliding, the sooner you can address your backsliding and curtail it and get back on a therapeutic course of progress. Now, the next step is for you to address your underlying low discomfort tolerance, because chances are you're saying it's too hard to do what works. And what is it that works? Well, what works in rational emotive behavior therapy is to examine the ideas, the rigid and extreme attitudes that lead to emotional disturbance. And what you need to do is go back to regularly spotting your emotional disturbance, taking responsibility for it, and then using the ABC framework to unpack it and dispute or examine the rigid and extreme attitudes, the musts, the shoulds, the have-tos that you adopt when your desires go unfulfilled. This is what we call disputing, and it's something that people need to train themselves in doing and then maintain doing, because we will easily go back to saying the world should be easy and comfortable without undue hassles, that other people must treat us kindly, nicely, and do our bidding, or that we have to do perfectly well and we will not accept ourselves when we do imperfectly. And so what REBT advocates is ongoing examination of our self-defeating attitudes so that we can transform them into healthier attitudes. Now, there's something to do beyond disputing, and that is you can expose yourself to the educational resources that we have at your disposal through my website, rebtdoctor.com. You could read self-help books by Dr. Ellis or Dr. Dryden. There are many fine self-help books to read. You can come to my Saturday Rational Emotive Behavioral Conversation Hour and watch other people learn REBT, and that'll help you keep your learning fresh and active. You can also come to some of the classes, master classes that are offered in REBT, and strengthen your conviction into healthy attitudes. You can also do things like shame attacks and get yourself to do things that you find uncomfortable to do, because it's only when we implement the behavioral strategies of REBT that we really develop conviction. And so it's really important that you not just read about REBT or listen to audios that I may present, but actually go and act upon those audios and those ideas. And finally, you can also teach other people REBT as a way of helping you deepen your conviction in it. The point I'm making here is that emotional well-being has to be maintained because there's this constant undertow that wants to pull you back to baseline. And that's what leads to relapse. And so you can't annihilate it. And you really need to adopt the same position an athlete does, which is that unless they engage in regular, ongoing physical training, they will lose their physical fitness. And in a similar fashion, unless you continue with ongoing training of yourself, ongoing attention to your thinking, and working to adopt flexible and non-extreme thoughts, working to go against the grain and not doing what's easy all the time and getting out of your comfort zone, unless you accept that you're going to have to do this the rest of your life to maintain your treatment gains, you will backslide. And what we're saying is that you need to come to terms with the fact that you can't annihilate that biological inborn tendency to defeat yourself. You can weaken it and you can strengthen the rational side of you, but you can't necessarily annihilate it. And so stay at the ready. When you backslide, don't devalue yourself. Accept yourself unconditionally as a fallible human, and then go back to what works. Go back to challenging your rigid and extreme attitudes. Go back to learning about REBT so you strengthen and keep it fresh in your mind. Again, one way to keep it fresh in your mind is to attend my weekly REBT demonstration on Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Zoom. You'll watch a volunteer discuss a problem with me, and I'll show them how to keep or make their attitudes healthy, flexible, non-extreme, scientific, and thereby have healthy negative emotions. It's free to attend, but you need the link. So write to me if you don't already have the link at REBTDoctor, DOCTOR, @gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send the link. I hope to see you on Saturday, but more importantly, I also hope that you work to maintain your treatment gains, whether they've been created by your own efforts or you've derived them in professional therapy.